Are you bored? Do you like anime? Sometimes cry at night? Do you have a Netflix account? Are you me? Because if you are, you've clicked on the right video. That's right, you've clicked on the right video. Shit, what did I say that? Welcome to the Call Me Mick channel, and you can call me Mick, and this is the best 13 anime you can watch right now on Netflix, Australia. Starting at number 13 is Higurashii. Full title is Higurashii no Naku Koro ni. I had to actually read that off my notes. Too many no's and knees. The English title, When They Cry. If you haven't heard of this and you're a fan of anime and horror, you're missing out, really. How have you not heard of this? This is a pretty classic horror anime. I had to pick Higurashii for lucky number 13, as 13 is the horror number or something, Friday the 13th. So the show is a psychological horror thriller about a group of kind and sweet high school girls. Very kawaii desu in my opinion. The main protagonist moves into a new village and he sort of discovers a lot of mysterious vibes and spookiness happening in the village. This show is also infamous for some of its graphical scenes you can probably find lurking on YouTube at the moment. I won't spoil them here. So again, if you're into horror, thrillers, and kawaii schoolgirls, then you're probably into anime. Therefore, watch Higurashii.
That was the moment I discovered the small rabbit and my instinct.
Number 12, Beastars. This is one of the newest Netflix additions, produced by Studio Orange, who are responsible for some great anime over the years that I haven't seen any of their work, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Beastars is Zootopia's crazy depressed uncle, where he shows up every Christmas drunk, but always has an interesting story to tell. That's pretty much what Beastars is, but with a bit of sophistication. It follows a very similar theme to Zootopia, where everyone's racist against wolves. Privileged straight white rabbits, if you ask me. It's a psychological drama slice of life shonen, apparently. That's a lot of genres. You get patched. It shares a similar 3D animation style to works such as Dragon Prince, currently streaming on Netflix. But in Beastars, I believe it's executed better, just in my opinion. That might be a turnoff for some people that are into just traditional 2D art, which I actually am myself. Oops. Don't let that put you off. They do it much better compared to other shows. You will definitely be hooked within the first 2 minutes of watching this. Number 11, is it wrong to try pick up girls in a dungeon? Is that the right title? Also known as DanMachi, also known as a longer title that I cannot read right now. Obviously, the full title of the anime is a bit silly. It's a silly question because of course it isn't wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon. If they're in your dungeon, they're legally your property. At least that's what my father taught me. DanMachi was a surprise hit for me. Coming out in 2015, it was probably one of my favorites of that year. It's an action-adventure fantasy anime with a splash of ecchi, maybe a gallon of ecchi. The female lead of the show actually wears a unpractical ribbon that she uses to hold up her breast, or just not to really do anything. It's just there, it's around her arm, but it's a plus. Somehow it's a plus. It's pretty much your typical dungeon style level up anime that's similar to Sword Art Online. I was actually really hooked on the anime as the action scenes were animated just fantastically. And from watching probably the first episode with one of the action scenes, I was hooked. Number 10, Samurai Champloo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Champloo, I forgot. I don't know. One of the most OG animes ever, really. It's f***ing great. If you're looking for an anime with great action scenes, and I'm talking about some of the best action scenes, with a sexy soundtrack and some great characters, look no further. Directed by the legendary Shinichiro Watanabe, who is responsible for the classic anime Cowboy Bebop. If you haven't heard that, sorry. Samurai Champloo is a contestant for his best work. It's a historical and episodic journey about a waitress, a breakdancing samurai, and another samurai. They fight, they live, they laugh, they love. All to a sweet-ass hip-hop soundtrack. If you're a fan of anime and you haven't seen this epic series already, then you have seen nothing.
あの日、星が降った日。それはまるで まるで夢の景色のように美しい眺めだった。
And number 9, Your Name. Kimi no Nawa? I don't know. Whatever. I cannot recommend this anime enough. If you're not interested in investing a lot of your time into watching a full series, then I recommend watching Your Name, as it's a movie. Isn't that fun? Your Name is an anime film that was so good it was giving a Western theatrical release. It's a top 10 highest rated anime on my anime list and is now streaming on Netflix. Australia, maybe US, probably US. US is just the same, but 10 times more content. So it's better, I guess. It's a supernatural romance anime with its own twist to the body swap / gender swap storyline. If you're not a fan of that type of story, you have to trust me on this because the story is so good and so unique that any anime fan and cinephile will enjoy this film. Number 8, Code Geass. It's been a long time since I've actually watched Code Geass, but man, probably one of the first anime I watched that I became like obsessed with after watching it. After completing the series, I just wanted more, but sadly there was no more until last year February where they released the movie, which I just forgot about and I still haven't seen. But nevertheless, the Code Geass is fantastic. The main character is a diabolical mastermind similar to Light Yagami from Death Note. It's an action drama sci-fi with crazy mechs. And personally, I have never been a huge fan of mecha anime, but in this series, I never really, it didn't feel like a massive focus on the mechas and rather on the actual story and characters. I actually forgot that it was a mecha anime until I started writing this video, so. The story is great, the characters are fantastic, especially Lelouch Lamperouge. Yes, that's his name. Number 7, Devilman Crybaby. I'm still processing this. Again, I highly recommend this anime, but with caution. It's a very, very mature anime that will rip your heart out and shove it down your throat. I mean that in a good way. The art style is pretty off-putting for some people. I personally really enjoyed it. It was different and I like different. It is an original network anime, so it was directly released to Netflix or some streaming service in Japan first. I assume due to that, the director of the show possibly had more creative freedom, and it kind of shows. Devilman Crybaby is an action horror anime, and if depression were a genre, it would be that also. The series, in all honesty, took a little while to hook me in, and when it did, I'm glad I watched the whole thing. It's different, it's dark, and it's only 10 episodes. So, go watch Devilman Crybaby if you want to your life. Number 6, Anohana, also known as The Flower We Saw That Day. Do you like to cry like a little bitch? Then Anohana is the perfect anime for you. I remember binge watching this series in high school, watching the last episode at 4 in the morning, and then just crying myself to sleep. It must have been puberty. A fantastic show about friendship and forgiveness, I think. I forgot. It's a slice of life supernatural drama. Depression should really be a new genre because this would fall under that category as well. It's about a group of friends that grew apart when one of the friends died. The girl that died actually comes back as a pestering ghost that only the main character can see. There's some things left undone that they need to do for the spirit to be laid to rest. Through this, the friends slowly reunite. Go watch Anohana, just bring tissues. Number 5, Haikyuu. Enough about anime that will make you cry, more about anime that will make you come from excitement. That's a bad way to put it. Haikyuu is one of the best sports anime I've seen and overall one of my favorite shows. This anime is solely responsible for making volleyball cool and popular. There are actually statistics to show that when the anime of Haikyuu came out, volleyball as a sport grew exponentially with people signing up in high school to play. It is that good. It's an epic sports shonen anime showing how determination and perseverance can overcome challenges. With a cast of fantastic characters and great animation direction that makes a volleyball match just as exciting as a fight between Goku and Vegeta. And number 4, Fullmetal Alchemist. If I could recommend Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood instead, I would, but it's not on Netflix Australia right now, so So this is the next best thing. This was actually my favorite anime until I watched Brotherhood. It's sort of like that meme. We have Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood at home. An action-adventure fantasy that follows 2 brothers on their journey to revive their mother and to get back one of the brothers' bodies that was lost trying to revive their mother before. Fullmetal Alchemist actually follows the manga up to about halfway, as the manga hadn't completed during production of this anime. And therefore an alternative ending for the show was created by the producers of the anime. Still a very good show, but again, if you have a VPN, I would watch Brotherhood, which is on this American Netflix. Number 3, 7 Deadly Sins, Nanatsu no Taizai desu ne. Blah, blah, blah. Here is a show that is your typical fantasy shonen, a fantastic show if you're looking for something a bit lighter and not too complex. And if you've already seen the big 3, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, it's a straightforward action-adventure fantasy shonen anime that's also funny and has some of the coolest cast of characters. It's one of the coolest characters done in shonen. It follows a young-looking boy man who is also the leader of the group of knights called the 7 Deadly Sins. He's in search of his group of merry men and women who are all crazy, unique, and powerful characters. He does all this while also looking after a barmaid and getting attacked by some powerful knights. I do only recommend the first 2 seasons of 7 Deadly Sins, as I've only watched the first 2 seasons, but I've heard season 3 has a pretty big drop in quality. That might be due to a studio change. I did start reading the manga, however, which I think is probably the best way to enjoy this. But go watch the first 2 seasons, it's really good.
When you have supernatural powers, the impossible becomes possible. My name is Kusuo Saiki.
Number 2, Disastrous Life of Saiki K. This is one of the funniest anime I have seen, if not the funniest. It looks super average at first glance, but man, it was hilarious. I personally enjoyed it more than Gintama, which is a pretty popular comedy shonen anime. Saiki K is a comedy slice of life anime that follows, you guessed it, Saiki. Saiki has some powerful psychic powers that he tries to hide from his classmates as he just wants to live a normal life. You know, that's fair enough. He ends up befriending a lot of weird and hilarious characters, and therefore he ends up in some weird and hilarious situations. It was an anime on Netflix that I wasn't even interested in, and I just looked at it and I was like, I'll give it a shot, and I was hooked on it. I actually ended up watching it in dub as well. That was Netflix's default, and it actually made the jokes land better for me, as it's pretty fast-paced. I mean, if you're looking for a lighthearted, episodic, just funny series, watch Saiki K.
いつからこんな風にしてくれてるの？お前が初めてパニックになった時からだ。おお、これだ。懐かしい。誇りはついてない。なんてな、前にはやったから。
And number 1, this might be a surprise to some people, but I have to give it to Rick and Morty. It's not ranked order, but Rick and Morty is number 1. And you might be surprised, hey, that's not an anime, is it, Nick? It is. Netflix says it is, so it is. And wow, what a great anime it is. It is fantastic. Very funny and heartfelt. It follows the adventures of a grandfather and a grandson as they journey across the universe, searching for the true meaning of life and love. It actually falls under the genres of sci-fi and yaoi. The animation is great, but the art style is a little bit different from traditional Japanese anime. Voice acting is a little bit odd, as they actually leave in the stuttering and burps by the voice actors. However, do not let this discourage you from watching this great series. That's it, number 1, Rick and Morty. Go watch it. Season 4. Thank you for watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for 100 subscribers to those 100 random people. Thank you to my mum, thank you to my dad.